Oh, yes, Ronnie, we are live. So, hi, how are you, Ronnie?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm also fine. Thank you very much. I think we have to wait a couple minutes, just our viewers can join us. So, and
Okay,
then we will start our session.
that is fine with me.
So, first of all, thank you very much, Ronnie, for accepting the invitation and joining us today. I think it would be a perfect and amazing session with you.
No, you're welcome. Welcome. I'm happy to be with you.
So, take some times when our viewers can, they will receive notifications and then they'll join us.
Okay.
Mm. So, yes, our viewers joined us. So, good evening, dear friends, our online visitors. Welcome to the Bishkek American Center virtual program. And it's my great pleasure to introduce our special guest today, Ronnie Winberry. He is Command Sergeant Major, U.S. Army, and he has served in every leadership position from squad leader to sergeant major. And Ronnie has both military and civilian education. So today, our special guest speaker will talk about U.S. holidays and Memorial Day. So thank you very much, Ronnie. And also, I want to kindly remind our viewers, please type your questions and leave your comments under this video, and our guest speaker will answer them after the presentation. I think we can start.
Okay. Well, good evening to you. Good morning for me. I come to you today from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. It's in the southeastern portion of the United States. And today I'll take a few minutes to talk to you about holidays in the United States. And then I'll leave time at the end for any questions that you might have. So
Mhm.
if we could we start the presentation?
Sure, I'm gonna share the screen. So, do you see the presentation?
I do.
Yes, it's full screen.
All
Okay.
right, let's go ahead and go next, please. Okay, so a little bit about me. I am from Jacksonville, Florida. I currently live in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. That's near Nashville, Tennessee. I have been married for about 19 and a half years to my wife, Leslie. She is from a small town in Oklahoma called Kyoto. So together we have lived in Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, Alaska, New York, Hawaii, and Germany. We have two daughters. My oldest daughter is 18. Her name is Kelsey. She's in college to become a special education teacher. My youngest daughter is 16. She's in high school, 10th grade. And then we now have our 9-year-old niece, Tessa, living with us. She's an elementary school student. So I've been in the Army for 20 years now, still serving. And I did visit the American Corner Center in Bishkek in 2012. That was photos from my trip on the slides there. I enjoyed my trip immensely when we were there, and hopefully someday I get to come back. Okay. Next slide.
Mhm.
And this is me and my family, just so you can kind of see what is important to me. We talk about family a lot when we discuss holidays. In the United States, that's kind of the key point of our holidays is to spend time with our families. So these are the ladies that I spend the majority of my time with. If I'm not at work, it's with them. So photos of us hiking last year on the left, photos of us at a promotion ceremony in the center, and on the right, that's my daughters. That's the two girls that I'm most proud of in life. So despite the height difference, the taller one wearing the dress is my youngest daughter. All right, go next, please.
Mhm.
And to give you an idea of where I'm from, Jacksonville, Florida is on the screen there at the bottom with the red star. And then where I live currently is just above it a little bit. That's at Fort Campbell. Okay, you can go next.
Mm-hmm.
These are the list of federal holidays in the United States. So we both celebrate New Year's the same. Christmas, there's a little difference between when we celebrate Christmas and when the Orthodox Church celebrates Christmas. I believe you celebrate Christmas in January, correct? And then outside of that, between New Year's and Christmas Day, that's the U.S. specific holidays. And I'll talk about each one of these individually as we were. But I would like to point out on the right side, most of our holidays are celebrated on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Congress passed a law several decades ago that said holidays will be on Mondays. That gives everybody a day off. So not only do you get a holiday, but it's a day off from work or a day off from school, which is definitely enjoyable. Everybody likes a little bit of extra time off. So, okay, we can move to the next slide.
Mm-hmm.
So the first holiday we celebrate after New Year's is Martin Luther King Day. So Martin Luther King Jr. was a civil rights activist in the United States. He was the leading figure for the civil rights movement. Unfortunately, in the United States, we do have a period of our history to where not everybody was treated equally. And Martin Luther King made it his mission to fix that and to make sure that all men were created equal. He delivered the I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. He led the civil rights rally on Washington, D.C. And the thing about Martin Luther King is not only did he lead a cause that had a significant meaning, but he did it in a peaceful manner. He did not practice violence in the way he wanted to see. He wanted to achieve his goals. So every year on the third Monday of January, we will celebrate Martin Luther King Day. That celebrates his life and his memory. Unfortunately, he was assassinated at a fairly early age. He was a middle-aged man. And it also allows us time to celebrate the civil rights movement in the United States and the fact that we now have equality amongst all races and amongst both sexes. So that's the point of Martin Luther King Day. As with most holidays, you will typically spend time with your family. January is a little bit cold, so we won't go outside and barbecue like normal, but you'll spend time with your family. You'll have dinner. January is also the time frame where football season is starting to wrap up. You've got the National Football League, the Professional Football Championship preparing to happen, and you'll have the College Football Championship starting. So, we'll watch sports together, spend time together as a family, share a meal together, and have extended family over. But that is Martin Luther King Day. Are there any questions about Martin Luther King Day?
No. Ronnie?
Okay.
Do you hear me?
All right. I can hear you.
I think we can check the questions after the presentation. Maybe
Okay.
we can do it later.
All right. Too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide, then. So the next holiday we celebrate is President's Day. That is celebrated the third Monday of February every year. The holiday was originally designed to honor the life of President George Washington, our first president. Then it went on to include President Abraham Lincoln, the president that ended slavery. And then several decades ago, it was changed to honor all presidents, past and present. So that's another holiday similar to Martin Luther King Day, where we'll spend time with family. You take the day off work. It's still cold outside in February, so we won't barbecue yet, but we're getting close to that time of year. One thing that's going to happen, our next holiday is going to be a little ways after this. We don't have a holiday every month. So in between President's Day and our next holiday, which is Memorial Day, typically we have what's called spring break. It's not an official holiday, but it's a time where school-age students, whether they're in normal public school, elementary school, high school, college, universities, they let everyone off out of school for a week. So that typically happens in March every year. So between President's Day and Memorial Day will be spring break. And that's a time where a lot of people try to take vacation, go somewhere with their families, and just take a break from school and work. Okay, next. Then the next holiday is Memorial Day. So that is a holiday that we're celebrating today. It's celebrated the third Monday in May every year. And that honors the sacrifices of the United States military members that have lost their life serving our country. So for someone like me in the military, this holiday has a lot of meaning. It's where you take the time to remember the friends that you've lost, remember those that have come before you and did not get to go home to their families. On this holiday, you will typically see families getting outside their barbecue and spend time with one another. For the service members that we've lost, we would all tell you if something happened to us, I wouldn't want you to sit around and cry and be sad. I would want you to hang out with friends, hang out with family, laugh, and enjoy one another's company. So that's typically what we try to do on Memorial Day. We will talk about those that we have lost, and we will absolutely remember them. We will keep their thoughts, keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and we'll include their families with ours, and we'll celebrate together. So for me personally, Memorial Day is special. I think about two of my friends that I no longer have with me. If you would go to the next slide, please. So CW3 Don Clark was a very close friend of mine. We were stationed together in Hawaii and Alaska, and he died in Iraq in November 2008. And then CW2 Alex Caraballo is another friend of mine. We were stationed together here at Fort Campbell when I was here previously, and he passed away December 2nd, 2015. Both of these men were married. Both of these men had children. Both of these men were loved and respected by everybody that met them. So, Memorial Day, well, I think about these two gentlemen all the time. Memorial Day is a holiday meant for us to specifically stop and take a moment and celebrate the life and memory of guys like Don and Alex and the countless others that have come before us that gave that sacrifice. Because without them, we wouldn't have our country. We wouldn't have the freedoms that we do. So that's the ultimate meaning of Memorial Day. All right, we can go next. All right, so after Memorial Day, we move into Independence Day, which is July 4th. But also after Memorial Day, typically by this time of year, most schools have let out for summer vacation. So for us, whether you're in a primary school or whether you're in college, you will typically get out of school late May or early June, and you will not return to school until late July or early August. So you get about 2 months off for summer vacation if you're a student. And the first holiday that you'll get to celebrate as a student on summer vacation is Independence Day or 4th of July. Independence Day, phenomenal movie with Will Smith fighting off the alien invasion. But really, it's to celebrate the founding of our country. So we celebrate the 4th of July because that's when the colonists declared independence from Great Britain, and they founded the United States. So this is one of the major holidays for us. It's, Christmas and Independence Day are probably the two biggest holidays in our year. So 4th of July, you will see festivities going on throughout the entire weekend. Oftentimes it'll take a week. So you'll have concerts, You'll have barbecues, fairs, plenty of things to get you outside to enjoy the warm summer weather, to spend time with your family. And then on 4th of July itself, usually you're at home and you're doing a giant barbecue. So you'll have as many people as you can fit in your house over. You'll prepare an insanely large amount of food, and everyone will have a good time. And then as soon as the sun goes down, a giant fireworks show. So Independence Day and New Year's, fireworks shows compete with each other, to see which fireworks show is going to be the best. So typically, this year, I don't know how things have happened with everything going on in the world, but typically 4th of July, we're going to spend a couple of days at the fair. We'll watch a couple concerts, take the boat out and get on the lake. And then we're going to barbecue and enjoy fireworks. You can go to the next slide. And then that moves us into Labor Day. So Labor Day, it's kind of the first holiday that happens after school starts back. So Labor Day is the first Monday in September every year. So kids have been in school a couple of weeks at this point once they get the holiday. So it's kind of nice. You start school back and a few weeks later you get an extra day off. So we appreciate it. This is my favorite holiday because my birthday's there. So I usually get to celebrate my birthday over this long weekend. But the reason we have Labor Day is to celebrate the hard work and dedication of workers and industry in founding the United States. We all know that the United States would not have become as large as it did, or become prosperous without the dedicated efforts of the men and women that were raising our crops and taking care of the cattle. Then you had the Industrial Revolution, automakers like Ford, all of these things that helped push the expansion and growth of the United States. This is the stuff that we stop and celebrate on Labor Day. Okay. You can go next. Next slide. All right, now we're moving into Columbus Day. So a month later, in October, second Monday of October, we'll celebrate Columbus Day. So this honors Christopher Columbus and the sailors that came over to the United States. It also celebrates Native Americans and the indigenous people that was here prior to Columbus. So this is a holiday that's had a little bit of contention lately because some feel that Christopher Columbus and the Pilgrims coming over disrupted the lives of the Native Americans. Others disagree with that. I personally, I don't know that happened, because the next holiday we have celebrates the efforts of the Pilgrims and the Native Americans. But I think it's important for us to celebrate both sides, both the Native Americans and the Pilgrims, because between the two, working together, that's what led us to where we are today. And that's the point of Columbus Day. So Columbus Day it's also kind of considered a minor holiday. So even though it's a federal holiday, not all employers will have to come in and work on Columbus Day. All right, you can go next. Okay, Thanksgiving. So I said Christmas and 4th of July are our largest and most popular holidays. Thanksgiving is a very close second behind those. Thanksgiving is a major holiday in the United States. It's celebrated the third Thursday of November. And, the holiday initially was designed to celebrate the cooperation of the Native American or indigenous people and the Pilgrims that went on to settle the United States. When the Pilgrims first came over, they were not prepared for the climate and the types of things that they would encounter in the environment. And had it not been for the Native Americans helping them and providing some food and teaching them different ways to survive, they wouldn't have made it. So that's what Thanksgiving celebrates. They made it through the first couple of years of difficulty, and they wanted to take a moment to just sit down and give thanks for making it to where they were. And that's continued on with us today. We still celebrate it. Now this is the holiday where you'll see, like the large family meal. There'll be a giant turkey on the table, a lot of food, you'll have your family over, and then you'll discuss the things that you are thankful for in your life. So like for me, I am always thankful for the opportunity to spend time with my family. I'm always thankful for the opportunity to spend time with my friends, because the people in your life is what makes your life enjoyable. You can see everything in the world, but if you see it alone, it's not that fun. So for me personally, that's what I'm thankful for. And that's the point of Thanksgiving, is to reflect on those things that you can't live without. And that's also a time for us to sit down and watch football. Thanksgiving, you will typically have a Dallas Cowboys football game on TV. So after you eat and everybody's full and sleepy, go sit down and watch a little bit of football and enjoy the remainder of your day. So, all right. And you can go to the next slide, please. All right. So this is Veterans Day. And this is kind of the last holiday that is specific to just the United States. So Veterans Day is celebrated on November 11th. It's not celebrated on a Monday, like most holidays. It's celebrated on November 11th because it was originally a holiday to celebrate the end of World War I. They called it Armistice Day because the armistice that ended World War I was signed on November 11th. As we've progressed and World War II happened, then you had the Korean conflict and Vietnam. Over time, the holiday stopped being Armistice Day and started becoming Veterans Day. And now the holiday is designed to honor all members of the United States Armed Forces. So anyone that's ever served in the military for the United States, that's who is honored Veterans Day. You'll usually see parades. You'll have a Veterans Day parade where all the old men and women that used to serve will dress up in their uniforms and parade through town with floats. It's a very patriotic day, similar to 4th of July. You'll see flags everywhere. And then you'll spend time with family. As with most holidays, you'll spend time with your family. You'll barbecue. It's getting into November, so it's starting to cool off a little bit. So this is kind of the last opportunity that you'll have to do anything outside before winter sets in. So you'll see everybody taking the boat out one last time, trying to go hit the lake or the river, enjoy that last minute barbecue, and just celebrate the day and enjoy the time off. So, all right, you can go next. So I didn't take up too much of your time. I left the bulk of the time open because I really enjoy the conversation that we will have back and forth, and I look forward to your questions. But before we open it for questions, I hope you learned something from the conversation about the holidays specific to the United States. If you didn't, or if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I will say that the common theme with most of our holidays is spending time with family. In the United States, a lot of times we get focused on work, and we're so focused on work that we lose sight of what is at home. We'll work long days. We come in at the end of the day, we eat, we'll take a shower, and you pretty much go to bed. A lot of people do that here. So holidays are a good time for us just to take a break and just stop worrying about work, stop worrying about money, stop worrying about everything else going on, and just focus on your family and enjoy time with those that support you. Food's also a large part of our holidays. Our country's fairly large. So where I'm at, we barbecue a lot. So you'll see food getting cooked over an open fire. You'll see meat getting smoked and prepared that way. That's a barbecue. In other parts of the country, they do things differently. They might not eat barbecue as much. It might be seafood, or it might be pastas. So every region of the country kind of has its own food that's culturally significant for them. But in the South, we eat the best food. It's barbecue and it's fried. So, but food is a large part of our holidays. Sharing a meal together is important, and is probably one of the most significant things that we do together as a family, is all sitting down together and eating. And then I'll make sure that this slide stays up for a little bit. But if you have questions, you can find me at my email address on the slide, or you can message me through Facebook. So even after today, if you want to reach out and get in contact with me, you can. I still have contact from some of the students that we talked with when I visited in 2012. So with that, I will open it up to questions or conversation that you might have.
Ronnie, thank you very much for wonderful presentation. And today, the United States celebrates Memorial Day. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Yes, happy Memorial Day. And how
Thank
do
you.
people celebrate this holiday now?
So we will typically celebrate it by spending time with our loved ones. The reason we celebrate Memorial Day is for the men and women that have passed away. So we will honor their memory. We'll spend time with family. We'll go to veteran cemeteries and we'll place flags at their gravestones. You'll see locally we do something called the Run for the Fallen. So on Memorial Day weekend, we'll do a 5K run, and everybody that's running, you're running for someone that has passed away. Also, you'll see an item, boots to remember. So, soldiers all wear combat boots when they're in uniform. So on our installation here on our base, the parade field will be covered with boots. Every pair of boots represents a soldier that has passed away in conflict with the United States, whether it be current or past. So you can walk through that display of boots and see the names on each boot for a man or woman that didn't come home. So those are the types of things that we'll do on Memorial Day. I woke up this morning and come in with you guys, but when I leave here, I'm going to take my family and we're going to go put flags on headstones at the veteran cemetery. And then this evening we will sit down together and have a meal. We'll have some friends over and we'll have a meal. And during the meal, we'll talk about some of the friends that we lost in the past.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for sharing this information, Ronnie. So we can move to the next question. Can you please share your experience from your visit to Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah, it was a great trip. So like I said, we got to spend about 3.5 weeks over there with you in Kyrgyzstan. The majority of the time was spent there in Bishkek. So we would come in every day. Monday through Friday, we would come in and we would spend time there at the American Corner Center. And we would share conversations about our culture with the young men and women that were in the program at that time. So we would talk about family life, how we host guests at our homes, the types of foods that we prepare. We talked about just pretty much anything and everything we could talk about. We talked about what was different between our culture and your culture, and we talked about all the things that were the same amongst our cultures, because we both find family important, and we both, family meals together are important, uh, and treat each other with respect. So that's the things that I remember most. But the highlight of my trip was teaching the kids to play American football right outside the steps of the library there. We played American football. That was probably the most enjoyable portion of my trip, to be honest with you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ronnie. So, did you have an opportunity to visit or attend any local holiday celebration?
We did not get to participate in any local holidays while we were there. Uh, we came over with the specific purpose of working in the American Corner Center. So that's what we did when we were there. On the weekends, we would go out and go around Bishkek and try to find the best places to eat, and museums to visit and things along those lines. But the purpose of us being there was to enjoy time with the American Corners and to assist with that program. So I don't think we hit any holidays.
Mm. Thank you very much, Ronnie. So the next question, you have mentioned barbecue several times. So it seems that it's a tradition to celebrate holidays with barbecue.
Yes, that is correct. So in the South, where I am from, and when we talk about the South, we're talking kind of the southern, southeastern portion of the United States. So Tennessee, Florida, Texas, Mississippi, Georgia. These are states in the South. So in the South, uh, we barbecue a lot. So the South is traditionally a portion of the United States that was kind of poor. They weren't a very wealthy region of the United States, and there's a lot of farms in the South. So because you weren't wealthy, you usually didn't get the best cuts of meat. It was meat that would be tough when you cooked it. So the way to fix that is by cooking it very slowly over a long time. So that's where barbecue came from for us, anyway. Is we get a big chunk of meat and you cook it at a very low temperature. You smoke it essentially at a very low temperature, and it comes out amazing. You cover it with barbecue sauce or whatever seasonings you want. But yes, barbecue is a very large part of our society and our holidays. We do it all the time anyway. Yesterday, I barbecued ribs. Uh, so it's something we do very regularly here.
Mm. Thank you very much, Ronnie. So, why do most holidays celebrated on the third of the week?
Most holidays celebrated on Monday because it was difficult for the federal government to give a day off. If it's a holiday, then the federal government has said that's a day off of school, it's a day off of work. So if you tie it to a specific date, that date falls on a different day of the week every year. So to make it easier for businesses and companies and different employers, the government said we will do our holidays on Mondays, with the exception of a few. We will do them on Mondays because Saturday and Sunday you're typically off work, and then that gives employers Monday to plan off of. So previously, like Martin Luther King Day was like February 21st. So that could be on a Monday one year and a Wednesday the next year. And it was very disruptive to the businesses to open up for a couple of days, close down in the middle of the week, and then open up again to finish the week. So that's why our government said we will celebrate most of our holidays on Mondays. Businesses can close Saturday, Sunday, Monday, open back up on Tuesday, and be okay.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Ronnie. So, what is the most popular activity people participate in on a Memorial Day?
It depends on the family. So if you are someone that has served in the military, you are probably going to go and honor those that have passed away. So you will probably go to a veteran's cemetery and put flags, American flags, on each gravestone. If you are not in the military, which is most of our country does not serve, 99% of our country does not serve in the military. So if you are not in the military, you are probably going to do something outdoors this weekend or on this holiday, whether that's going out on a boat, whether that's hiking, whatever the case may be. You're probably going to do something outdoors because this is the first warm weather holiday after the winter. Either way, both, whether you're a service member or not, you will finish your day with a meal. So more than likely, like at our house, we'll barbecue and we'll have some friends over. So that's the typical Memorial Day celebration.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. So do these celebrations of these holidays depend on the states?
No, the only thing you will see different in the States is the type of food. So, like I talk about barbecue a lot because the region of the United States I'm from, we like to barbecue. But there's other regions of the United States, like Louisiana, they like seafood. The coastal areas like seafood. So instead of barbecue, they might do a crab boil or crawfish boil instead of barbecue. But that's the only difference really is the types of food that you'll see people serve. And it's not specific to an individual state. It's typically a region. So a couple of states that have similar styles of food.
So thank you very much, Ronnie. So the next question, are you allowed to go celebrate the beginning of the summer, Memorial Day, or any other occasions?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Are you allowed to go celebrate the beginning of summer, Memorial Day, or any other occasions?
Usually I would go celebrate Memorial Day. Usually I would take a little bit of time off right now and we would be able to travel. Unfortunately, just like Kyrgyzstan, COVID-19 is limiting our ability to travel. So right now we're kind of limited to home. And for some people, work as well. So I will not be traveling this Memorial Day, but usually I would be able to.
Great. Thank you very much, Ronnie. So could you please share with us the interesting facts about this holiday, about Memorial Day?
Interesting facts about Memorial Day. So a lot of people mistake it for a holiday where you celebrate. And amongst all the holidays, this one holiday should not be a day of celebration. Because this holiday is for people that have passed away, it should be a day of remembrance and honoring their sacrifice. So, but a lot of Americans don't know anyone that served in the military or don't know anyone that has lost a family member serving in the military. So it's difficult for them to understand. That's the point of the holiday. So therefore they view it as another, it's a day off and it's warm. So go do something. So that's one of the, I wouldn't say facts, but that's one of the common perceptions. But another fact is, like I mentioned earlier, less than 1% of the United States will ever serve in the military. So this holiday celebrates such a small population of people. Other people serve in the military, very few of them have lost their lives. From World War One on, very few of them have lost their life when you look at the number of people that have served. So that small amount of people has defined our country in such profound ways, and has enabled freedom not only for us, but for others. So that, I think, is probably one of the best facts about today, is just thinking about how such a small population willing to sacrifice for someone else can make such a big impact on the world.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Ronnie, for this information. So the next question is, what or who influenced you most in serving in U.S. Army?
So the one that influenced me the most was my grandfather. He did not serve in the U.S. Army. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps, so still in the military, but a different branch. So as a kid growing up, I idolized my grandfather. To me, he is what is right about men in the world. He was kind, he was compassionate, he worked hard, he took care of his family very well. He was respected by his community. So that initially made me think about the military. And then, when looking at a choice in careers, I wanted a job that gives the ability to provide for others, that gives the ability to have a positive impact on your community and your country. And I didn't want to be a police officer, so I joined the military. Now I'm getting close to the end of my military career. I don't have too much time left. So just like my father or my grandfather, he transitioned out of the military and he went into law enforcement. He continued to serve his community. I don't want to be in law enforcement. So when I transition out of the military, I'm going to be a teacher. So I will transition into the education side and serve my community that way. I think the best thing that a person can do is live a life that is beneficial to them and makes their community a better place. I think you need to do both. That was the takeaway from my grandfather when I was growing up.
Mhm. Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing this, Ronnie. So I think it was the last question from audience, and we are close to finish our session. Thank you very much, Ronnie, for the wonderful, amazing session. It was really useful and informative. And also, I'm really sorry for misspelling the position, like Command Sergeant Mayor. I think now I spelled it correctly. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. And special thanks to you, Ronnie. And I think it's time to say goodbye. So have a great day, Ronnie. I mean, it's a morning in the United States, and for viewers who are in Kyrgyzstan and in other parts, I mean, in other regions, so it's evening. So have a great evening. So see you tomorrow, dear friends. Hope you enjoyed this session, and it was really, really useful. So bye, everyone.
Goodbye.